Deputy President William Ruto promises to take his presidential campaign a notch higher after the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission gave him the go-ahead to contest the presidency. And this afternoon, he campaigned, as you saw, in the capital, where he made a number of commitments to those who live and work in the capital and to the nation at large, should he assume the presidency. Allow me to catalogue them for you, beginning with what he promises as far as the capital city is concerned. Now, he promises to establish 20 new markets, ensure stable water supply as well as a working sewer system, and mortgages from 5,000 shillings and 5% interest on mortgage for those who are first-time home buyers. Now, let's take a look at his bottom-up economic pledges. And we begin with, let's change this graphic, if you will, please. There we go. He promises to inject 50 billion shillings into Mamamboga. He talks about boda kiosks, and he talks about doing this by facilitating access to credit as well as a a nurturing business environment. And he says he will do that by way of legislation. He also promises to increase the minimum wage from about 100 shillings to 200 shillings a day to 1,000 to 2,000 shillings a day. And he says he will inject 100 billion shillings into creating employment generating projects, including in the area of manufacturing, agro-processing and value addition. And notably, he says he will stop borrowing. And I want to quote exactly what he said. He said he will stop borrowing and invite friends to invest in Kenya in those areas I mentioned prior. All right, staying with bottom-up economics, he said he will bring down the cost of fertilizer to 2,000 shillings a bag. This is as far as farm inputs, saying that this is critical to reducing the cost of living. So fertilizers and seeds, he says he will bring down their cost. Do note that Raila Odinga has also made the same pledge as far as bringing down the cost of a bag of fertilizer to 2,000 shillings. Being a former Minister of Agriculture, he says he will eliminate brokers and cartels in that sector and stop the importation of textiles, wood products and leather in order to facilitate Jua Kali enterprise. He says that he will build their capacity through TVET training. Now, away from economics, let's take a look at what his promise as far as social welfare is concerned. For those on the lower end of the income bracket, he says he will reduce NHIF payments from 500 shillings by half to 250 shillings. And he says for those who are desperate, the government will make NHIF payments on their behalf. He says cash transfers to the vulnerable, that is orphans, those over the age of 70 and the disabled, will be made before public servant salaries are paid. And finally, he has promised 50% of his cabinet slots for women.